Hello, bookish people. Welcome to another episode of the Meet Your Author podcast, where we celebrate authors and have bookish conversations. I'm your host, Rachel Chiza, right here in Kampala, Uganda. I need African literature to open its doors to happy stories in 2025. We are capable of writing African joy. Enough is enough. That's a tweet I saw making rounds on X or Twitter on 20th Feb 2024 by at Don Carl Ann. And I thought it ended up in our book club WhatsApp group, and we talked about it a bit. And I was already planning to do a podcast on African romance books that I've been reading, and I thought, why not start us off with that discussion? Do we think that we don't have enough romance stories or enough, happy stories in African literature? I don't know. I feel like we have a bit of everything when it comes to African literature, but tell me what you think. This episode, I'm focusing on romance novels or love stories by African writers, at least the ones that, I've been reading, I've discovered and read. And to start us off, we have Sweet Mercy by Ghanaian writer Frances Mensah Williams, who I discovered last year during the Pija Literary Festival in Accra. I've read, I think, 2 of her books now. Lovely, lovely writing. With Sweet Mercy, it's really a sweet book. Mercy is married to a hot politician. She's the ever-doting wife and mother. She never upsets the status quo until her marriage is at stake. And I felt, for me, this story was a story of it could be a story of any woman. You're in love and you get married, life is good, but it's just something that's not, there's something that's unsettled on the inside of you. And you've got to find yourself in all this. So I like that as much as it's a romance novel, it also centers a lot of self-love, because I would never see a lot of, not that we never see a lot of that in books, but I love that away from the man and woman relationship, we also have this, our Sweet Mercy finding herself and, turning things around for her life. So it was a very beautiful story for me on marriage and motherhood and identity. I enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a story on an all-encompassing romance, this is something to consider. 2 was Valentine by Nigerian writer Kiyu Tare. I'm so glad I discovered Kiyu. Oh my God, her novels are so sweet and really, really good to read. So Valentine is, it's Valentine season, but Valentine is such a sweet, sweet story about Michael and Cassie, who meet under regular circumstances, that one encounter that really just hits you, and your love life takes a whole different turn. So it's so lovely to read, and it's that point where I had to do a double take that I was actually in Nigeria, because not that the setting was not well represented, it was, but I think it's everything else that it's just delicious, and it's set in Enugu, so it was beautiful. I love at first sight stories. Yeah, so please read it. I would say that there were a few downsides here and there. The storyline is well explored, but we miss out on exploring some dynamics in the book around the characters or their background. But it's okay. It's a sweet story. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. 3 again by Taye Kiro is Worthy. Beautiful story, really. Peter and Tessa meet at a night out, and this night unlocks so many desires that, can only be quenched by them being together, obviously. It's this particular one was so sick and twisted, but I loved it. The author pushed so many boundaries that I haven't seen in African romance, at least based on the continent. So I loved reading it, and I loved it when my eyes were bulging, like, oh, really? Ooh, okay. Yeah, it was a good one. My fourth book is River Wild by, again, Frances Mensah Williams. This one is also good. River, it's centered on a character named River. She's ambitious and assertive, wants to achieve her goals. I love it when we talk about things that happen in relationships where, like River, she's in this relationship, she loves the guy, but he's just not measuring up to what she wants. And should she walk away? Should their love story end there? Or should she help him get better? I don't know. I guess you have to read the book to find out. But I loved the themes that were explored in the book. I loved the rom-com, the romance that was given to us. And with this one, though, I felt there was something, it just didn't hit for me. It wasn't a hit. It was but I still read it and was like, okay, I like to see this side of African glamour. But I didn't really like it. But I'll be reading everything by this particular author. I love the way I love her writing, and I love the way she moves between Accra and the different places really in Ghana, not just Accra, but showing us uptown. It's beautiful to watch. Oh, it's beautiful to read. Another one that I really, really enjoyed was Dating Mr. Famous by Gloria Abba, who is also Nigerian. This story is one that promises to get your toes curling, your face twisted in such a happy, swanny smile. It's also set in Nigeria, and it was giving. Oh my God, it was giving Nollywood glamour. And that's not a bad thing. I really loved everything about this. It's beautifully told. It's a very short read, sweet and short. Some scenes and sentences, of course, were cringeworthy, but on the whole, I enjoyed the story, and I think this is my kind of story also. Boy meets girl, and things happen. Oh, I love knowing what happens in between, whatever the story. So this was good, and it's very contemporary. There's a lot of social media, things are happening on social media. So if that's your kind of style, I would say go for it. And lastly, we have On Rotation by Shalene Obobi. I don't know if I got the name right. She's also a Ghanaian writer living off the continent. It's a medical romance. So if you like Grey's Anatomy, you will enjoy this. So for me, I didn't really enjoy it. And I had seen so many bookstagrammers talking about it, but I listened to it because it was a narration. Maybe the narrator didn't deliver. The narrator was terrible, I have to say. So I didn't really enjoy the book. I'll try reading it on my own and see how well I like it. But yeah, I would still say give On Rotation a chance. For me, it just didn't hit compared to all the other books I've mentioned. But I love that the writer really serves us with knowledge on the medical profession, because she's also in the medical profession herself. So she really, I love that her character had the right information. She was, showing us the complexities of being a medical student, and that coupled with the pressure from African parents and then falling in love with a particular type of person. It was good, but it just wasn't a hit for me. Yeah, so that's it. I hope that the writers I've mentioned you go and check out their work and see if you like their romance work. For me, I love it, and I'll be reading all of them, at least what they put out this year. I'm looking forward to reading everything from the past and the present. So I would highly recommend that you check them out and read some African Joy. Read some African Joy as we wait for 2025 for more releases. Yeah, thank you for joining me on this episode. Remember to subscribe to the podcast and share with friends and family. Follow at AuthorMate on X and IG. Meet Your Author Podcast for a bookish ride.